Well, winning solves a lot of things, but for this group, I was just happy that they got over that next hurdle of fighting through in the fourth quarter. We kept talking about, there's not a magical answer to this. It's work ethic, it's toughness, it's fighting through. If we weren't in the games, that would be one thing, but we were in a lot of those games for about 35 minutes. So it was getting past that last 5-minute hurdle, and I was just really excited and happy for them that they were able to feel that, see what it feels like. I mean, practices have been spirited ever since, obviously. And it allows us to keep the door open on some postseason opportunity as well.
You mentioned in post, that the first thing you said in the locker room was they survived the fourth quarter and they got through that. Have you seen that kind of embodied in the practices, that they know what it takes and they know what kind of work they have to put in, and now that they survived it, they know what they need to do?
Well, I think getting over that hurdle, they now know what that feels like. I think that's the biggest thing is, it's a lot of exertion, a lot of effort, a lot of energy, and they're already expending a lot of that to get to that point, but you have to sustain it in the most crucial moments, and that's where we were having our letdown. And I think now that they've experienced it, and everybody was okay afterwards, as I said jokingly, everybody survived, but we also had some good times with that, meaning that we can do this and we are capable of doing this, and they finally got to feel it, what that was like.
Coach, you said in post-game that you changed the way you approached the Oklahoma State game that week in practice. What did you change up that really made a difference, you think?
Yes. Well, to be clear, we've tried something in every one of those, so I want to be very clear on that. So, I just kept reaching into the bag and trying. But, we actually went the extreme other way with it. We went the toughness route, and we created a practice that was very, very difficult. Not lengthy, just difficult. They had to get fatigued, and they had to fight through that fourth quarter with the exact same score of TCU game with the 10 minutes on the clock, and they had to handle that going against our scout team, which is really good. And they had to sustain that when they were already fatigued. So we actually put them in that exact environment in terms of their bodies, and then understanding the fight that it takes to go ahead and win that. And we won it in practice too, so that was a good thing.
So
what do you see in practice? What do you see in West Virginia when they come in here?
Yes, so I think West Virginia is indicative of a team that doesn't have to have a lot of depth to win. They only dress 8 players, but they don't go deep into their bench, but they have very skilled players. They're very tough defensively. And you look at Tynice and Naomi as being really their true threats right now. Pardee's still out with the ankle injury or foot injury. So you look at those two can really light it up for them. And then someone like Lucky can come in and she can hit the 3 ball at a high level and drive for them. So they have different weapons on any given night. But Tynice is one of the most special perimeter players in the entire conference. She can get a bucket as easily as anybody, skill set wise. She has an inch of space, she can knock it down, and that's legitimate.
Skill-wise, how similar are they to Oklahoma State?
It's great that you brought that up. They're playing these two teams back-to-back is really good for us because they mirror one another very much. They don't have huge inside presence. They have great perimeter scoring. They have 2 kids that lead them. Very, very similar to Oklahoma State.
So this week going through practice, are you sticking with the toughness or are you changing focus because now you think they get it? Which, how do you balance it, I guess I'm asking?
Yes, no, it's a great question, and we don't really know yet because if they get it or not because it's happened the one time. But what we did do is we went in and we watched the fourth quarter again, and we said, hey, these are the positives from the fourth quarter. Complete opposite approach than from the TCU game. These are all the great things you did defensively. These are all the great things you did offensively. And it was really pace-oriented. Our pace was different in the fourth quarter, and that was the biggest difference in the game.
Can you compare the 2 freshmen, Kristin Carr and Madison Smith?
Yes, well, they're both about the same size, and both are really quick, and they go head-to-head a lot. And, I think Madison's coming off the Freshman of the Week honor in the Big 12. So I think it'll be a good test for CC. I know there were things CC did very well at West Virginia against her, and then there were some things late in the game that we didn't handle as well as we wanted to. So I think head-to-head it's a great matchup. Kind of excited to see how it goes here at home.
Can you kind of speak to her tenacity, because she did not have a good first 3 quarters Saturday, and then kind of came through with a big shot and some big free throws?
Yeah, it's just part of her her maturation process. It truly is. You know, she's had some off quarters, some off moments, and even some off games. But the part that we've been working with her is that all point guards have to maintain the poker face. You have to continue to fight. You have to continue to compete. Doesn't matter if you're scoring or not. But what else can you bring to the table? And a few of the things that we saw in that fourth quarter is when we didn't score, or maybe she missed a bucket or something, she was the first one flying back on defense and putting pressure on the ball. That was an adjustment. That was a change than what we had seen previously from her.
Coach,
when you came in and you started working with her, at what point did you really decide that you wanted to expand her game from the inside out and start using her a lot more on the perimeter? And we've seen her just really excel and elevate her level of play.
Yeah, it was immediate. I mean, really the first day I had them on the court, I hadn't been here but a couple of days, and I wanted to take them through a skill workout just to kind of evaluate quickly. But right away I knew that she's someone that could score for us from the perimeter, especially having someone like Erin that you can put down low at the same time makes it really hard for defenses. So, yeah, it was right away.
What impresses you the most about the way that she's kind of been able to come on and become more of a vocal leader and just a leader on the court this year?
Yeah, you know, what's interesting for us as coaches is as far as she's come, we think there are a couple more steps that she can go. So credit to her, she's come a long way. But we want to keep pushing and keep working to get her over that next hurdle, that next step, because it's there for the taking if she wants to continue to dedicate on that next level and get it there. There's certainly growth to be had with her. I think when we inherited her, she wasn't physically strong and her skill set had not been developed at a level maybe that we saw in her, in all fairness. But so we've gotten her to where we see probably a normal level now, and now we want her to go that next step.
So where do you see her ceiling?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I think if she continues to get stronger and her game continues to evolve, and we put more guard talent around her, I think that it's going to really help her. She's not going to see as many double and triple teams on the inside, and then on the outside, I think she's going to continue to flourish in the type of system we play as we put more guards around her that bring more of a skill set to the table.
Are you familiar with Jordan Barncastle, who used to play here many, many moons ago?
I am not.
Okay. She's very similar to what you're describing, but if you're not familiar, it's nothing to compare to, so it's fine.
No
It's way
worries.
before your time here.
No worries.
Let me ask you this. What have you seen different from Erin in Big 12 play?
Yeah, you know, well, in particular, this most recent game is just someone who was battling for us, you know, that wasn't taking plays off and things like that. I like that she was more physical. I mean, we showed clips. We slowed it down, rewound it, and even put it in slow motion for her, and had some fun with it in a good way. But she was actually in that fourth quarter ripping rebounds. And that, you know, before she may have gotten hit or something, bumped, and the ball would come loose. But we actually saw her rip the ball and demand the ball inside in the paint and score for us. So, I mean, we were going to her in the fourth quarter. It was very obvious and very deliberate. And we were going to her, and she came through for us. But I think just her tenacity, her energy level, her fitness level, all those things really coming together.
Coach, we were joking with Sid about her aired free throw. What did you have to say to her after the game?
I didn't say a word. I didn't say a word. And all I said during the game was, next one's in, let it go, and stay focused on the very next moment. That's all you can say when that happens.
Oh, just having 2 feet in the paint and going up strong, even though they were like hacking me and hitting me, just finishing strong through the contact.
What did that win mean for you guys?
It meant a lot for us because, like, everybody knows we're trying to get a postseason, and I feel like getting over that hump, and we're gonna like start going in the right direction to get us to a postseason.
Coach Stalling said after the game that one of the messages she gave you guys was that everybody survived for how hard you played. Is that going to be kind of the moniker for this team now? Is that we've survived this and now we can keep going on from here?
Yes, that we can work hard and not die. We think we're gonna like pass out if we work hard, but when you work hard, we just seen on Saturday that we still will survive.
How has that win changed maybe the mentality going forward for this team?
I think it changed the mentality a lot just because like we know that we can win, and if we just put a fourth quarter with the other 3 quarters, that we can be successful. So that's just what we're going to keep building on these next few games.
I'm curious what's changed for you in the Big 12. I don't know if you're aware of this. 65% of your made field goals have come in the Big 12. So you're doing much better in the Big 12 than you were in the non-con.
Just more confidence, and when I'm 2 feet in the paint and not trying to force shots, I know that my shot is going in. So just when I be 2 feet in the paint, I know I'm going to make it instead of forcing something and trying to make a hook shot running away from the basket.
Is that something they're really pushing with you, is 2 feet in the paint?
Yes, sir.
You're talking about West Virginia.
That's going to be a good matchup for us. They have two good players that are really good scorers, and our main focus is just going to be trying to stop them, and on the offensive end, just doing what we normally do.
So the problems really are Davenport 0 and 5, Tynese Martin shooting the three and denying that.
Yes. We just have to not let them get their pull-up jump shots and threes, and I think it'll be a really good game for us.
What do you remember from that first meeting? You guys were able to score like 35 points in the paint. I'm guessing you guys were going to attack them on the inside, kind of.
Yeah, it'll be the same memo as last game, just stopping them defensively so that we could get the win.
What did you guys do on the defensive boards against Oklahoma State, particularly in that fourth quarter? It seemed like you limited one shot regular by the season.
We just had to focus on boxing out. If we box them out, we know we're going to get the rebound because we're, of course, in front of them. So if we box out, we can get the rebound.
You haven't had a chance to work with Brittany the last couple years. Where do you feel like she's grown most? Obviously, she's just in her game. What makes her so good?
She's grown a lot. Brittany can shoot the three. She can also be back to the basket. She's a very versatile player. So just like over the years, her three-point shot is being more consistent. So that's what's really changed about her game.
How rare is that to see somebody her size and just with her skill set just to be able to break through and shoot that on the rest?
It's really rare, but she's very consistent at it. It's like she's not a bad three-point shooter at all. So just the fact that I can see her shooting it, it makes me want to be like, ooh, maybe I can shoot a three too.
I was just wondering about that because you don't necessarily want to mess up your percentage at 52% by shooting a bunch of threes, right?
Yeah, that's right.
You mentioned a rarity. How weird was it to see Sid airball free throw?
Oh, yeah, it was really weird because Sid is one of our best free throw shooters, and I heard Coach on the bench yelling short, but I didn't know it was going to be as short as an air ball. I thought it was going to be like short, hitting the front of the rim short, but that was kind of funny.
Did y'all give her a hard time in the locker room?
Yes, we did.
I feel like it definitely puts us in motion to advance forward. Postseason, it's still alive. Our chances of getting there very much open, and I feel like this is a great win to help us boost into the games that are coming up. West Virginia is going to be a great opponent for us. They basically have a lot of similar players to Oklahoma State, whereas, you know, Naomi and Tynese, a lot of their offense revolves around those two players. Just like with Oklahoma State, it revolves around Braxton Miller and Vivian Gray. So I feel like going straight to West Virginia from Oklahoma State, that's a great matchup because we're already knowing what we're going to be able to see.
Coach Stallings mentioned after the game that one of the things she said in the locker room was that you guys survived for how hard you guys were playing in the fourth quarter. Is that going to be kind of the moniker now that we survived this and now we can keep moving forward?
Yes, definitely. If you see game after game, it's always the fourth quarter that hits us the hardest. We'll perform for 3 quarters and then just stray away from what we've been doing for 3 quarters when it comes to the fourth. So the difference maker with Oklahoma State is that last 10 minutes of the game, we've already played 30 really hard. The last 10 minutes, we didn't stray away from what we were taught, and we executed everything right down to the brim. So I feel like, yeah, we definitely did survive, but we have to survive in advance, and we have to use that with every opponent that we go against to the end of the season.
Did the win, like, take a weight off everybody's shoulders that you've gotten past all the late game troubles, you've gotten past everything else and gotten that second Big 12 win that you guys were missing last year?
Yeah, I would definitely say that win helped us get a lot of weight off of our shoulders just because it makes our postseason chances still alive. The hole, it's still closing, yeah, don't get me wrong, but we still have a chance at going to a postseason, and it gives us a bigger advantage opposed to if we would have lost. So we have to look at Oklahoma State as something to grow from. We can't go back now. We have to use that win to definitely grow and prosper.
Coach Stallings said in postgame she had a different approach last week before Oklahoma State. What was different about her approach that week to you as a player?
We've had a lot of practices that dial in on the fourth quarter, but we had practices that really, really just fixated our eyes specifically on the fourth quarter. Being tired, where are we mentally and physically? And those were the practices basically consisted of. We got into scrimmages, we raised our intensity level, and we made sure our practice players got after us. Our red shirts, Lexi, Drea, Emma, even Shug, they're all getting after us and they're making us better players. And that's something that they did for us. They raised the intensity so that we felt like we were in a fourth quarter matchup the entire 2.5 hours worth of practice.
So 21 of your 31 steals in Big 12 play, is that senior urgency, or are you just playing better in the Big 12?
I take a lot of pride in my defense, and I know my coaches look to me to be a defensive stopper, even my teammates as well. So I like to take a lot of pride in that. I love to guard great offensive players, and a lot of times it's hard for me because they're so offensively gifted and they know how to control the defense, but when it comes from defense, it's just heart and pride, and I take a lot of pride in that. So when it comes to the steals, I'm just in a great position to be able to defend whoever I'm defending.
Having had a chance to just play with Brittany over the last few years, I feel like you've seen her game evolve and grow.
Yeah, obviously everyone sees Brittany shooting behind the arc now. That's definitely where she's grown. She's a perimeter shooter. She's becoming more smarter with that, when to take those shots, when not to. And you know, obviously everyone knows how deadly Brittany is 15 foot and in. So this year we're having at the 3-point line, and she's executing to a great level because she's hitting a lot of those shots, which means that people have to guard her out there, which means that they have to drive away from the basket. And last year everyone was packing in the basket. So that definitely brings a lot of diversity to our team with what Brittany's doing and advancing her game.
I think I'm feeling more confident. I think I'm getting my feet set, getting my feet down, and when I get my feet down, they're probably going to go in. And so I just had to calm down, relax, shoot my shot. I know I'm a great shooter, and so you know, shooters have bad memory, and so that was the whole philosophy: keep shooting, they're going to go in eventually. So that's what I've been doing.
How has this team changed just from that win from OSU, getting the second one under your belt in the Big 12?
I think there's a lot more hope. You know, of course we're fighting and we're showing up to practice and we know we can win, but the fact that we have won, there's a difference. You know, you can see that in our body language and how we're practicing. We're practicing harder, more intense, because now we know what it takes and now we know we can do it.
It's kind of a similar opponent, like Oklahoma State. I mean, 2 scorers. You guys kind of have a size advantage on them. I mean, does it help going from that game and being able to pull off that win going into this contest against West Virginia?
Oh, for sure. The scout is pretty similar. And Coach even said in the locker room, it's nice that we're playing them back-to-back because they do mirror each other a lot. Like you said, similar. We have size advantage. They have 2 scorers. And so, you know, same philosophy. We're going to go in and we're going to play hard.
Do you watch other shooters? I mean, like Tynese Martin, do you kind of take a look at her and her style, or does it kind of fire you up to play against somebody like that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, every great shooter is going to watch other great shooters. You know, what do they do differently? How do they get their shot off quicker? How can I get my release better? And so, yeah, she's a great player to watch and learn from.
Have you modeled yourself after anybody?
No, not necessarily anybody. I've had different shooting coaches, and I've just been a gym rat, and so I've just developed my shot as I go.
You mentioned the bad memory, so you still remember the free throw?
I do remember the free throw, yes. That's very vivid.
What happened?
Almost 500. Can you believe that? I was like, oh my gosh. I guess to go viral, you should embarrass yourself, and then you're good.
What happened?
I honestly don't know. Even watching the film, like, it came off my hand, and yeah, it felt short, but it didn't feel like an air ball. And then my dad was watching, you know, he's in the stands, and he's like, Sid, you were this far away from the basket. And so, I don't know, I guess it just happens.
To your credit, though, the next one, I don't think touched the rim either, but it was a perfect swag.
Oh, yeah, I had to redeem myself. I knew I had to make the next one.
Who gave you the most crap on the team?
Oh, everybody. They're still talking about it. I think they'll continue to talk about it. But Britt walked up to me after the game, and she's like, it's okay, Sid, I've been there. And so I guess she airballed a free throw last year or 2 years ago. So it's been a lot of fun. Everybody's making fun of me. So.
Maybe a bit more of a serious note, but you mentioned Brittany. Can you just speak to how far you've watched her grow and how much her game has expanded? We talked about her just becoming more of a shooter.
Yeah, no, Britt has expanded her game immensely. She's playing harder, she's defending harder, she's posting harder. I mean, if you look at her post-ups now compared to last year, it's like night and day. She's working hard. I mean, her rebounds, her double-doubles. I mean, it's a big deal to average a double-double in the Big 12. That's huge. That's not normal, and she's not normal. She's a great player, and she's going to continue to get better. And three-point range is just helping us as a team, and we love her shooting those threes.
After the game, Coach said that one of the things she said in the locker room was that we survived, and that was how hard you guys played in the 4th quarter was what she was referencing. Is that going to be the moniker for this team now, that we survived this and now we can move on?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like I said before, we know what it takes now, we know what it feels like, and we know we're capable. And so I think that confidence in itself is going to propel us forward, get us on a winning streak.
Has a weight been lifted off the team's shoulders getting that second win?
I don't know if necessarily the weight's been lifted off. I think the excitement is there immensely, a lot deeper than what it was before. And I think that getting a taste of that win, we just want it that much more.